subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you know when live we go. Hello and welcome to today's DNS session. We are going to have a discussion on today's newspaper, the Delhi edition dated 5th of August 2021. We shall pick up articles important for civil service examination and discuss them as per the demand of the exam. Before we proceed with the discussion of today, let me just quickly inform you that today is Thursday and we have posted a new question as part of our weekly answer writing program that is based on the DNS sessions. The question that has been uploaded today is discuss the key concerns associated with the findings of report on household social consumption education in India as part of the 75th round of National Sample Survey. You must write the answer to this question in 250 words. Go to the comment section of the ELEARN platform and either you can type your answer or better still, you can write on a piece of paper and using this tab of choose file, you can upload your file on the ELEARN platform. Do not write your answer as a comment to someone else's answer. Post your answer in the main thread, write your name along with it, and it's a good habit to keep a track of time because ultimately in the mains examination, speed would be of essence. You must track your speed, how much time you have taken to write the answer. That's a crucial marker of your preparation level. I encourage all of you to please participate in this and get your answer evaluated by RAU'S IAS team. This is the lead article from page number 6, A Language Ladder for an Educational Roadblock. This article has been written by our Vice President. He has written the article in the context of 14 engineering colleges recently across 8 states have decided to offer courses in regional languages. Vice President also has highlighted the fact that All India Council for Technical Education has permitted BTech programs in 11 native languages. These profound revolutionary changes coming in the higher education in India is happening in the larger architecture of National Education Policy 2020. National Education Policy 2020 advocates for teaching in regional languages till class 8th. And beyond that, institutions must take effort to make available the curriculum in the language students are comfortable in. Because language acts as educational roadblock. Adopting native languages, not only in the initial phase of education, but also in technical education, can become a language ladder. All India Council for Technical Education recently has conducted a survey covering around 83,000 students. In this survey, nearly 44% students voted in favor of studying engineering in their mother tongue. This signifies the difficulty that students face in learning at graduation level. That difficulty, that roadblock, can be bridged by the native language ladder. There's a huge amount of literature available already that give reasons for imparting technical education in regional languages. Various studies have confirmed that human mind is more receptive to communication in the language in which brain is accustomed to think from childhood. Communication is an important means of socialization. Values, attitude, they all are formed during the process of socialization. When this communication link breaks or is weak, then the socialization process is immensely affected. If a student is more comfortable talking to the teacher in the language he or she is comfortable in, that has huge impact in the learning process. If there's a communication gap, there is a setback in the learning process. Communication is key for converting from a biological entity to social entity. And this process of socialization does not stop at primary school level. It must continue till lifelong learning. And this process that learning in the mother language is germane to building self-esteem and self-identity. To be able to communicate in one's native language, in the regional language, in the mother tongue, is central to human dignity. So, taking higher courses, the technical education in the mother tongue is important for dignified identity of an individual. Regional languages also become catalysts for inclusive development. In fact, Kothari Commission on Education and National Development back in 1964-66 suggested that in tribal areas, the first 2 years of school, the medium of instruction and also the books must be in the local tribal language. From the third year onwards, other language can be incorporated for instructions. But however, it has been observed that it is only the state of Odisha that has been teaching tribals in the primary school level in their own language. But even then, all the tribal languages are not covered. Mother tongue, regional language, the local language is fundamental to not only individual identity but also regional identity, culture. And in a country, region where diversity is celebrated, all cultures, all languages must be valued and supported. You see, if there is not much scope of personal development or regional development through a language, that language slowly but surely will die out. To ensure the thriving existence of our culture, developments must be made possible through local languages. And the means to development is education. So, higher education must be made possible through local languages. It will be pertinent at this point to look at the observation of Sir C.V. Raman. He said that we must teach science in our mother tongue. Otherwise, science will become a highbrow activity. It will not be an activity in which all people can participate. It has been observed by many philosophers and linguists, including Gandhiji, that mastery of mother tongue is a prerequisite for creative expression in other languages. So, for science to prevail in our culture, for it to come to the grassroots, it must be taught in the local language. If they are given opportunity, some material to learn, they will come up with great ideas. If some courses can be made available for organic farming in the regional language, people will do wonders. Teaching in regional language will also strengthen our diversity. You see, in areas where local languages prevail without much prevalence of English, you'll see those regions to be underdeveloped because higher education in India predominantly is in English language. This has been the case ever since our colonial masters came and conquered India. They made sure that education, especially the higher education, is made available in English only. We are continuing with that colonial legacy, embracing the legacy of colonial masters with pride. So, regions where local languages prevail and people have not adopted or not understand much English language, they are underdeveloped. That does not cater well to the cause of celebration of our diversity. Our constitution under Article 50A says that every state and local authority should endeavor to provide adequate facilities for instruction in the mother tongue at the primary stage of education of child belonging to linguistic minority groups. It has been seen in many Central American countries like Guatemala, Senegal, Costa Rica, teaching in local languages bring economic prosperity. Prevalence in science at grassroots level increases. More innovation come out from the society. If you look at international practices, you will observe that in contrast to what is practiced in India, most developed countries they impart education even at the higher education level in local languages. Most G20 countries they teach students in the dominant language of the people. South Korea is a very profound example in this regard. 70% of universities in South Korea teach in Korean language. In fact, in 2018, South Korean government banned the teaching of English prior to 3rd grade in schools. Most of the South Korean parents were getting enthusiastic about teaching English to their child. Alarmed by the situation, South Korean government, in pursuance of protecting their language, banned teaching English prior to 3rd grade, but it serves many purpose. When the initial learning is in the local language, in the mother tongue, then parents can participate more in the learning process of children. And the education that actually began at home before the child went to school does not have a break because of the medium of instruction in school. There is one continuum. The learning outcome most certainly will be better. Canada is one nation that stands out in celebrating the diversity. French is not the dominant language of Canada, but in Quebec province, there is majority French speaking population. And in this province, French is used as the medium of instruction. underlining the fact that children must be taught in their mother tongue. But you see, despite the benefits that we have discussed of imparting education, including higher education in regional language, it's not an easy thing to do. One of the biggest roadblock is the study material. You cannot imagine a standard textbook on nanotechnology or cryogenic engine in regional language. I don't think you'll be able to find any standard textbook discussing black holes in regional language. And as you go high and high and high, the chances of getting material in the regional language becomes less and less and less. It's not just the textbook, you also need to have instructors, professors, teachers who are proficient not only in vernacular language but also in English, so that the translation business from standard textbooks available in English can go very smoothly. There's a third barrier that there are limitation of translation words available in regional language. If you're translating the original text, then the term for black hole or acceleration or momentum or CRISPR technology, you'll not be able to do the translation because the words in the regional language does not exist for them. In that case, you'll have to pick up the words from the original language itself. Additionally, one of the challenge of imparting technical education or higher education in regional languages, you are blocking the worldwide career prospect of the student. If you enable a student to get PhD in science in Odia language, do you think he has a career prospect of teaching or doing research abroad in US? So a optimization is required. It is not just the regional language, it must be regional language plus English. Samarth, an NGO that comes up with annual status of education report, it has done a research and found out that families of children actually want their lad to go to English medium school. There is this craze about English medium schools that prevails both in urban and rural region. So even if the government starts facilitating instructions at school level in regional languages, there might be few takers of it. Then there are other hurdles. Although instruction in mother language is socially desirable, as we have discussed, and it is also technologically possible, the translation can be auto generated these days, but it might not be financially viable. The smart translations research that are going on, they are not going on in all regional languages. Then there will be a question on administrative doability of imparting education in all the local languages. We might not have so much of manpower to provide instructions in local language. According to 2011 census, there are 270 mother tongues in India, and it would not be possible to make all these 270 mother tongues as medium for instructions in schools. Also, the new education policy that emphatically put up the case for regional languages in schools makes no mention as to how the money is going to come for this transition. You see, language is an extremely political thing. If the local politicians try to push regional languages to keep English away, that will not be fruitful, as we have discussed. That will jeopardize the career prospect or even the higher education prospect of the student. So it must not be regional language versus English, but a regional language plus English. Also, in a region, if there are many languages prevailing, if you give preference to one language, then in the same region, people speaking other language will feel marginalized. That's another challenge. So, what do we do? Should we not do anything, citing so many problems? See, the roadmap for what we have been discussing has been laid down by New Education Policy 2020. We must begin imparting primary education, at least, in students' mother tongue. The new education policy suggests the primary education to be the medium of instruction till class 8th. But many educationists are suggesting that to begin with, we can at least have it done till class 5. For professional courses, of course, the task would be tough, and we will require the cooperation of private universities. As 14 universities across 8 states have decided to impart education in mother tongue in some technical courses, similarly, the private universities must take initiative to offer select courses in mother language. And the answer to hurdles that we have been talking about is technology. Technology can provide a step up for growth. It can enable inclusive development. In the digital learning ecosystem, it is easier to provide instructions in a regional language. The present technologies have made it easier to translate English literature into regional language. But then digital learning in itself is skewed towards urban centers. Unless that is fixed, unless digital inclusiveness is brought about, leveraging the technology that we are talking about will not be possible. AICTE has been collaborating with IIT Madras to translate the courses available on the SWAM platform into 8 regional languages: Tamil, Hindi, Telugu, Kannada, Bengali, Marathi, Malayalam, and Gujarati. You must also get yourself aware of a body called as Commission for Scientific and Technical Terminology. It was established in 1961 to evolve technical terminology in all Indian languages. The problem of translation that we have discussed before, this body is there to fix that. National Translation Mission is being implemented by Central Institute of Indian Languages. The purpose of the mission is to translate the textbooks of various subjects prescribed in various universities and colleges. The translation is supposed to be done in all the languages of the 8th schedule. So, using technology, if these translations can be made efficient, the translated work can be made digitally available. And there are ample numbers of instructors and translators who are good at both the regional languages and English. Then the process of imparting education in regional language can be kick-started. Although it's going to take some effort, financially, administratively, technologically, but it is going to pay off. The financial cost estimated in some countries that have done the task back in 2000s, like Guatemala, Senegal, Costa Rica, we know from their experience that it is only 1% of total education budget that goes into creating local language material through translation. There is already a successful example in India from the state of Kerala. The Kerala state government is running an initiative called as Namad Basai. Under this initiative, children in the tribal areas are getting educated through vernacular language. We already have talked about the prior effort of the state of Odisha in educating children in the tribal areas using the tribal language. Using these successful examples in India, we need to standardize things. We need to overcome the financial and administrative hurdle using technology. UNESCO in 2018 has adopted UELU Proclamation. This proclamation has given a document on protection and promotion of world's linguistic diversity. 2019 was also adopted by United Nations General Assembly as the International Year of Indigenous Languages. The linguistic diversity of world indigenous languages, they cannot be protected and promoted without increasing its scope. It cannot be promoted and protected by keeping it bereft of latest science and technology, by denying the speaker of these languages studies at higher level. As the Vice President has rightly penned, we must unlock the full potential of our youth without letting their seeming inability to speak a foreign language impede their progress. This article is from page number 7. No fundamental right to strike. Defense Minister has introduced Essential Defense Services Bill 2021 in Lok Sabha. It has been passed. Will be passed in Raj Sabha very shortly. The stated purpose by the government to introduce the bill is to secure the security of nation and life and prosperity of public at large, because the bill is related with essential defense services. The bill allows the central government to prohibit strikes and lockouts in units engaged in essential defense services. And what are essential defense services? The bill also empowers the government to declare any service mentioned in the bill as essential defense services. And by virtue of that, prohibit strikes and lockouts in any units engaged in such services. The background of this bill is some employees of ordnance factories were threatening the government to go on strike. So the government has done a preemptive strike by bringing this bill. Although it was clear in law that strike is not a fundamental right, but it has been made very explicitly clear by the bill that employees of ordnance factories cannot go on strike. But the defense minister has assured to the employees of ordnance factories that their service condition will not be altered to their disadvantage. The other details of the bill as such is not important for civil service examination. What we will discuss very succinctly here is the right to strike. Is that fundamental right? Under Article 33 of the Constitution, Parliament by law can restrict or abrogate the rights of members of armed forces or the forces charged with the maintenance of public order so as to ensure the proper discharge of their duties and the maintenance of discipline among them. Thus, for the armed forces and the police, where discipline is of utmost importance, even the fundamental right to form an association can be restricted under Article 19(4) in the interest of public order and other considerations. For your mains examination, you must be aware of two cases of Supreme Court. Supreme Court in Delhi Police versus Union of India in 1986 upheld the restrictions to form association by members of non-gazetted police force. The judgment confirmed with the provisions of Police Forces Restriction of Rights Act 1966 and the amendment to this act in 1970. Supreme Court observed, take note of this, while the right to freedom of association is fundamental, recognition of such association is not a fundamental right. Because Parliament by law can regulate the working of such associations by imposing conditions and restrictions on their functions. Supreme Court again in 2003 in T.K. Rangarajan versus Government of Tamil Nadu held that the government employees have no fundamental right to resort to strike. The state of Tamil Nadu already had Government Servants Conduct Rule 1973 that prohibited the government employees from going to strike. Supreme Court made the observation that government employees cannot hold the society to ransom by going on strike. This case resulted in the state of Tamil Nadu dismissing nearly 2 lakh government employees that went for strike. For your mains examination, you must remember these two important cases related to right to strike. For your prelims examination, you must remember that there is no fundamental right to strike under Article 19(1)(a) of our Constitution. There are two related articles in today's newspaper. One is titled Air Quality Commission Bill for National Capital Region Cleared. The other article on page number 2 talks about viable alternatives to stubble burning. Commission for Air Quality Management for National Capital Region and adjoining areas. This Commission for Air Quality Management was set up in 2020, last year, but it was set up via an ordinance. An ordinance, as you know, can have an effect of law only for 6 months. The cabinet was too busy, I suppose, so the bill could not be produced earlier in the parliament. The ordinance lapsed and this body had to be dissolved. But now this body, via an act, will be formed permanently. This body will have a full-time chairperson and will have representation from several ministries, even from independent experts. The detail of the appointments we will come to know once the government finalizes the procedure of appointment. But for now, it has been declared already that this commission will have final say on evolving policy and issuing directions to address air pollution in Delhi and adjoining regions. NCR in general includes regions from 4 states and UTs: Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and Rajasthan. But this commission will have jurisdiction over the state of Punjab as well. It will have jurisdiction in NCR and adjoining areas. So, Commission for Air Quality Management will exercise jurisdiction in NCR covering region of Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Rajasthan, as well as Punjab. You must be aware that Central Pollution Control Board, although it has been formed under Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, also exercises jurisdiction under Air Control and Prevention of Pollution Act 1981. So air pollution as a subject is dealt by Central Pollution Control Board as well. So anticipating dispute or clash of jurisdiction, it already has been made clear that in case of dispute or clash of jurisdiction, Commission for Air Quality Management's writ will prevail. in cases specific to matters concerning air pollution. So far, we have so much of information concerning Commission for Air Quality Management. Previously, this Air Commission bill in the draft stage had a provision of penalizing farmers for burning stubble. Penalizing stubble burning was prominent thing because stubble burning prominently contribute to air pollution in the NCR region. But because of the relation between government and farmers already has ran into rough weather, so government has budged from here, and the form in which the bill has been passed by Lok Sabha does not contain this text of penalizing farmers for stubble burning. It also has been pointed out by experts that in the socio-economic setup that we live, this kind of penalizing provision will not help. Rather, what we need is alternative to stubble burning. Because stubble burning also has harsh effect on farmers themselves. Stubble burning reduces soil fertility. It kills the nutrients in the soil. The heat generated by the stubble burning penetrate into the soil, thereby reducing its moisture content. So, if given alternate option to stubble burning, farmers will readily take it. The solution to stubble burning can come in three forms: in situ treatment of stubble, ex situ treatment, and more fundamental solution is changing cropping pattern, moving from paddy to maybe maize, vegetables in the region of Punjab, Haryana, and UP. For in situ treatment, presently the most powerful technology that we have in our hand is called as turbo happy seeder. Happy seeder is a machine that helps the farmers to drill into the soil to plant the wheat seeds. It also cuts and uproots the stubble. Strategically, the straw that has been made out of the stubble, they are thrown over the sown seed and they form a mulch cover. Not exactly in situ treatment, but the stubble can be used in the nearby region for power generation. USA based New Generation Power International has proposed to set up 1000 megawatt biomass energy generating plants in Punjab. This will help in addressing the problem of stubble burning in the state. Similar to Happy Seeder, there are machines that can harvest the crop from the field and process the stubble into fine pieces. These fine pieces have been used to make some agro waste products like cups, plates, egg trays, even insulation boards. There are many startups that have been doing this work, especially Green Gears. Green Gears also made idols of Lord Ganesh with agro residue. But the overall ecosystem of management of stubble burning can come only with the state support. In this regard, the Chhattisgarh model is stellar. The Chhattisgarh government has helped villages to set up Gauthans. Gauthans are generally area of around 5 acre, which are commonly held as a common good by village. To these Gauthans, the unused stubble, or parli as they are locally called, are collected from all over villages and brought here. Villages sometimes also come up and give it as a parli dan or the stubble donation. Here at the Godhan, the stubbles are converted into organic fertilizers by mixing it with cow dung and some natural enzymes. To develop the supply chain of collecting the stubbles and then distributing the fertilizers and maintaining the Gothans has created employment among the youth. The government, of course, has supported the transportation of the stubble from the farm to the nearest Gothan. And Chhattisgarh has successfully developed over 2,000 Gothans till now. This model makes agriculture sustainable, leads to social cohesion of having a common good like Gothan in the village, makes the process economically desirable and environmentally viable. There is an article on page number 6, a grand tax bargain in danger of coming apart. This article is a critical analysis of the GST regime. There's nothing in this article that has not been already covered previously in the DNS dated 1st of May 2021, very elaborately by the DNS king Baswasar. So I'm not dealing with the issue again. In case you need a discussion on critical analysis of the GST regime, you can refer to this DNS. Now we have what we always have at the end. You should do what you always do at the end. Goodbye. Take care.